and today onwards we will start the some content.
Sure.
Okay. I hope today, so I think Rakshana have some good network compared to yesterday.
Yesterday.
Okay.
Good, good, nice. Okay, so I will share my screen. Okay, so before we going into the our course, so again, so we will need to know some basic points, especially the SAP S4 HANA perspective. Okay. So basically, the
Okay.
SAP S/4HANA, this is the SAP business software, or we can call as business suite as well. It is developed by the SAP SE. So this thing, SAP SE is a software company that owns and develops enterprise software applications with software support as well. And it was started in the year 1972, and the SAP headquarters is in Waldorf, Germany. These are the basic points. And when it comes to the next point, why we called this application into SAP S4 HANA? What is the reason behind that? So this is the fourth major release made by the SAP SE in the year 2015. And that's the reason only we called S4. Here S4 represents the fourth generation. And where it comes to the HANA represents the HANA database. So already yesterday session also I told. So basically, ECC, so we have these sessions, we have the databases like SQL database, Oracle database, these databases. But when it comes to the SAP S4HANA, we have HANA own database. Okay. So, and the
Okay.
full form of this HANA is High Performance Analytic Appliance. That is the full form of HANA. And
Okay.
usually, so earlier SAP don't have their own database. So earlier they have database like they depends upon the other companies like Oracle DB or Microsoft SQL DB. But in the year 2015, what happened? So the SAP comes with their own database. That is the HANA database. So that's
Mm.
the reason only this one we call as SAP S4 HANA. So while we attended the interview, maybe
Mm.
sometimes even the interviewer is asked this question also, why we call as SAP S/4HANA. So the
Okay.
answer is very simple. This is the fourth major release made by the SAP SE company, and
since
HANA
since
represents
its
the
release, since
yeah,
its first release. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So where it comes to the four releases, so basically in SAP R2, R stands for real time and 2 stands for two-tier architecture. So two-tier is nothing but the presentation and the database layers. So
Okay.
we know in SAP basically we have three layers inside the application technically. So that is the presentation layer, application layer, and the database layer. But in the year 1979, so the SAP released the first major release, and that is R2, SAP R2. That application name is SAP R2. And usually this SAP R2 is they use it to run in the mainframe. And in the year 1992, so they introduced another component, that is SAP R3. And again here same R stands for real time and three tier stands for three tier architecture. Like we have a client application and database layers. And in the year 2004, again they introduced the SAP ERP, especially this application only we call as ECC, Enterprise Central Component. And from the year 2004 onwards, SAP comes into the larger ERP family as well. Okay, earlier,
Mhm.
so the SAP is not a ERP application, but in the year 2004 onwards, so the SAP comes into the ERP family. I hope you know what do you mean by ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning.
Yeah.
Enterprise resource
Yeah.
planning.
So globally, we have a different type of ERP softwares across the global. Like we have Salesforce, and we have Oracle, we
Oracle.
have Microsoft Dynamics 365, and we have MFG Pro, PeopleSoft, BAM. So likewise, we have different type of ERP applications, and out of that, SAP is the one of the ERP application. And in the year 2015, so they comes with the SAP S/4HANA. This is the fourth major release. This is the one 1979, 1992 2, and 2004 3, and this is the fourth major release. So that is the reason only. So we called this application as SAP S/4HANA. And again, so SAP S/4HANA, the very important thing is it is comes with the SAP Fiori app. So earlier we don't have the this concept earlier in ECC, but SAP S/4HANA they comes with the some new innovations, new changes, new modifications into the application as well. And next point, where it comes to the traditional databases and where it comes to the SAP HANA database, there is a change comparing to the OLTP and OLAP. So like we have a online transaction processing and online analytical processing. So there is a difference, huge difference. And how this data is also stored into the,
I have a
yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
Uh, like the first two versions, you mean to say that they were like a web-based page or something like that, and these two are like an application, or how does it work? What do you mean by the database difference?
See the simple difference.
Mm.
See earlier what happened. So the application, the SAP application is run on the ROM. So I hope you know the difference between RAM and ROM.
Yeah, yeah.
So RAM we are using to speed the OS of any device, and
Mm.
ROM we can use it for to store the data. Correct?
Mm.
So
Yes.
earlier ECC application, what happened? The ECC application is run on the ROM database. So it means the application is stored in ROM, and even the
Mm-hmm.
application is also run in the ROM area, ROM database
Okay.
side.
Okay.
And where it comes
Okay.
to the SAP S4 HANA database, it is stored in RAM, and the application is also run on the RAM. So we
Okay.
know the difference between RAM and ROM. This is the major difference what we have in the ECC database side and SAP S4 HANA database side. Okay.
Okay.
So because
Okay.
of that only what happened, the ECC systems are very slow. Why? Because
Mm.
if you stored something into the ROM unit, so basically, so that application is run very slowly. And when it comes to the any software
Okay.
application, if you stored on the RAM, so that application it works very speed. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
that is the major change in our simple language.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
So next point, so even the SAP HANA also we have some less hardware to manage. So why? Because the RAM itself we can store this application and we can run this application. So there is very high accelerated also. So what I told earlier, and this
Mm.
is common features of the SAP HANA database. So
Okay.
and again the SAP S/4HANA we have three type of choice of deployments is there. So earlier what happened, we have only single type of deployment, that is the on-premise. What do you mean by on-premise? So we are implementing or we are installing the SAP application to the client business systems or business the systems. So simply that process we call as on-premise. Okay.
Okay.
But when it comes to the SAP S/4HANA, we have a three type of deployments. One is the on-premise, and the very very important, the second is the on-cloud. So earlier we don't have on-cloud version in the SAP application. And the third type of deployment is the hybrid. That is the combination of on-premise and hybrid. And did you observe or not in the year 2010 or 2011? So I hope you know this one. So in that years, the Salesforce is the highest market in the highest boom in the market. The reason is the Salesforce application in the 2009 itself, they started the cloud version. But
Okay.
earlier, yeah, but earlier we don't have cloud version in SAP. Why?
Mm.
Because the new innovation of the cloud computing and comparing to the on-premise, so even you can see this difference also. If you want to install the SAP ECC application, we need some system, some hardware size and some system performance. Like we need minimum i3, i5 into the system, and we need 1 TB hard disk. And within that, so the SAP application itself, so it is going with 400 GB, 500 GB into the system. So likewise. But
Mm.
because of this cloud, what happened? So we don't need any hardware sizing required. Why? Because the SAP S4 application, it is run on the directly internet itself, web itself, because of this cloud
Okay.
feature. So that is the reason only. So in the year 2015 onwards, again, so many of the clients, they are moved into Salesforce to SAP S4 HANA. Even nowadays also, so even I am also participated many of the implementations. So we can see many of the clients from Salesforce, Oracle Soft or PeopleSoft or BAM, many of the clients, they want to shift into their application into the SAP S4HANA because of this cloud feature only. And that too, the cloud feature, especially for the medium scale business clients and the small scale medium clients, so they are unable to burden that much of amount. On premise, it's not a small amount. We need to pay some lot of amount for the licensed versions. But when it comes to the on cloud, that is the smallest versions. Even the medium scale clients and the small scale clients also easily they can use this application and easily they can implement this application as well. Okay.
Okay.
So again,
Yep.
so on-premise here it is, I mentioned very clearly what is this on-premise and all. So the theory I mentioned, I will share this document. So please go through this document and try to understand what is this
Sure.
on-premise and all.
Yep.
And cloud also, whatever I said until now. So instead of we are installing the entire application into the system, so just we are implemented the SAP application into some cloud place, and within that cloud we can use it that application through the web, through the internet. Okay. And again, the cloud also, we have two type of cloud. One is the private cloud and the second is the public cloud. Private cloud is nothing but that is a dedicated server. So we maintain our own server and we can install our application into that server and we can use that application. And where it again, so in private cloud, so we need to spend some money, and even so to buy the dedicated server also it's little bit expensive. So there is some advantages and disadvantages also there. Cost wise, it's very costly. And where it comes to the public cloud platforms, public cloud deployment, especially the Amazon Web Services, AWS is the world's largest cloud platform. We know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even we can take it some shared server also from that AWS. So we can install our SAP application in that shared server and we can use our application as well. But where it comes to the again the public cloud, we have some security issues. Maybe our data is also theft sometimes, or maybe our data is also duplicated. There is some points is there. So whatever it is, the client choice, that is purely client choice. If the client wants to maintain their application in private cloud or the client wants to move into public cloud. But SAP, we have two options. The SAP S/4HANA, we can implement either in public cloud or private cloud as well. And the next choice of deployment, what I said earlier, the third deployment is the hybrid deployment. So on-premise is nothing but we need to implement, we need to install the SAP application to the business systems. And cloud means we are not installing any SAP software into the client business systems. Instead of that, we are installing the entire application into the server level. So again, that point, so private server and public server, we call as private cloud and public cloud as well. And when it comes to the third deployment, so this is the hybrid deployment. It means if the client wants to maintain something into the on-premise and something into the cloud. So this choice is also there. So again, this is also client choice only. If the client wants to maintain something into the on-premise systems and some related installation, so they want to maintain in cloud also, they can maintain here. So likewise, we have a three type of deployments. Deployments is nothing but installation options in the SAP S/4HANA. But in earlier ECC, we have only on-premise deployment only. This is also the major change between the ECC and as well as SAP S/4HANA. And again, the SAP S/4HANA, we have a different modules. We have here modules like finance, sales, marketing, sourcing and procurement, supply chain, asset management, manufacturing, service, human resource, research and development. And apart from this, even we have here some tools also like SAP Ariba, SAP Concur, especially for the procurement side. So we used this application, SAP Ariba application. And SAP Concur, especially the travel and the telephone internet expenses. So if you want to maintain, we can use this tool as well. And SAP Hybris, especially for the billings from the sales and distribution side. So they can use this one as well, SAP Hybris. And even the field glass and the success factors. These are the tools which is very helpful in the human resource side. So likewise, in the SAP S/4HANA application, we have all these modules. Okay. So we have finance, sales, marketing, sourcing and procurement. These are all modules. So all of these modules, so our training is belongs to the SAP S/4HANA sales. Sorry, SAP S/4HANA finance. Okay.
Okay. In fact,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
as we are seeing this slide, I'm saying in
Hmm.
one of the accounts I manage currently, which is from the US,
Hmm.
they are using field glass for,
Exactly.
in fact, they're using it for billing purpose.
Oh,
In the
yeah.
sense like it helps to,
Mm,
in fact, it starts from recording the work hours of the people,
mm,
and then it is translated into billing for the billing to the client, something like that. So
yeah.
people are as you said, it is kind of human resource, starts as human
Yeah.
resource,
Yes.
recording their shift hours, all that. Then like
Exactly.
we are invoicing to the client from the field glass itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So whatever I said, these are all the tools, additional tools regarding to support this respective modules into the SAP S/4HANA. Okay. So
Right.
even in real time, so you heard about this one also, SAP Ariba
Ariba,
and
yes.
SAP Concur.
Yeah, for document.
Concur I
Yeah.
have
So
not
Yes.
used, but
Mm.
Ariba I have
So
seen a lot.
SAP Concur is also very, very important tool, especially so to go with the employees travel and
Travel
that
expense.
travel and expenses. So
Mhm.
if you want to claim your internet bill or if you want to claim your telephone bill, so this tool
Mm.
is very, very helpful.
Okay.
Okay. So Hybris we are using for the sales billing.
Mm,
So likewise. Okay.
perfect.
Next. So anyway, I will share this PDF to you. So please go through this PDF and please try to understand in deeply what is these things and all.
Sure.
Okay, so in our session,
Okay.
so I hope I don't need to explain pin to pin the theoretical point. Okay, I will share this document, and once you received this one, even please go through this document and page by page.
Sure.
Next. So again, the
Sure.
key benefits. So we have some key benefits in the SAP S/4HANA system. Like this is very fast and accelerated performance. Why? Because this is the in-memory technology, the HANA database. What I said, the HANA database is worked on the RAM, random access memory. That one we call as in-memory technology. And especially the column-oriented tables and multi-core procedures they used in the HANA database. So because of that only, so the system of SAP S/4HANA, it's very speed and very accelerated comparing to the ECC systems. So in ECC systems, what happened? So we have some traditional databases. The traditional databases, the data is stored in the row-oriented tables. So you know what do you mean by row and what do you mean by column in
Column,
the
yeah.
Excel sheets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is single source of truth as well. So especially by the compatibility views of the all the tables into single table itself, we have a universal general concept and we have a Agdoka table also. There is some one table. So which table will helpful to see all the modules of data as well, like finance and controlling and COPA. So asset accounting, especially in the finance side, all the modules we can see the data in the single table itself. So that's the reason only we call as single source of truth. Okay. And there is some simplifications is also comparing to the earlier ECC systems. We are aggregated and we are eliminated some index and aggregated tables also. So because of that, the application it's very simplified, and there is user friendly interfaces as well comparing to earlier. So we have SAP Fiori, and this is the new user experience to process. So earlier we don't have Fiori. So just if you want to maintain the general entries, we need to maintain into the SAP application. There is no other option as well. But in the SAP S4HANA, we have SAP Fiori as well. And cost effectiveness, whatever I said earlier. So by introducing the SAP cloud version, so comparing to the on-premise, the cloud version is very cheap. Why? Because the application itself, we don't want to install the business systems. We can install in the some cloud place, right? So because of that, comparing to the ECC application, the SAP S4HANA is very cost effectiveness. And innovations, so we can see a lot of innovations from the SAP S4 HANA side, especially in the business side. So in recent trends, the cloud computing or the accounting principles, the new things and the new business policies. So based on that, we can see a lot of innovations in the SAP S4 HANA system and the choice of deployment as well. What I explained earlier, so majorly we have three type of deployments: on-premise, cloud, and hybrid. So these are all the key benefits. Okay. So please go
Okay.
through this material once I shared this one.
And the
Mm.
interface that you said is the front end
Mm.
application, right?
Yeah,
Front
yeah,
end
yeah,
where
yeah,
we
yeah,
do the
yeah.
input. The
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Exactly. See, and even the SAP Fiori apps I said, right? So the
Mm,
SAP Fiori apps we can install in the mobiles or iPads as well. You can see here. So remotely, so through mobile or iPad
mm,
also, we can install this Fiori apps. But
correct.
earlier we don't have that option. So we can monitoring even the business owners nowadays. The business owners they are monitoring the entire business operations into mobile itself
Mm,
by using this Fiori apps.
yep.
Okay. Next point. So again, so the introduction of SAP S4 HANA Finance. So in this case, so here I need to explain one more very important point. Even so, many of the real-time working professionals also they confused because of these three words. See, basically in finance side, so we have three things. One is the SAP Simple Finance, and the second is the SAP S4 HANA Finance, and the third is the SAP S4 Central Finance. We have three components. So the first one is the SAP Simple Finance. What do you mean by SAP Simple Finance? See, in the year 2015, the SAP S4 HANA they introduced one version in the year 2015. That version is 1503. Initially what happened, just they started with the only finance module. So in that time what happened, so that version we call as SAP Simple Finance. Okay. And later on, what happened in the year 2016 in the version of 1603? So the SAP S4 application, we are extended to the remaining modules. Remaining modules in the sense sales module and materials management module and warehouse management module and human resource management module. So likewise, they extended SAP application into all the functions of the business. So that time, especially our finance part, we need to call as SAP S4 HANA Finance. Okay, so this is the difference between SAP Simple Finance and SAP S4 HANA Finance. Then what about the Central Finance? Central Finance also nowadays we heard this term many times. Central Finance. What do you mean by Central Finance? See, there is a scenario. One client is there. The client is already used the ECC application, and that client doesn't want to move to the SAP S/4HANA, but the client is looking to speed up the finance process, to speed up the finance speed up process. Then what happened? Again, we have a solution in the SAP S/4HANA. So that time the SAP is suggested to the client to installing the SAP Central Finance. So what happened? The SAP S4 Central Finance is the application which is run on the HANA database. Okay. And this SAP Central Finance is connected with all our ECC other applications like sales, materials management, everything. But the central of this one is a SAP Central Finance system is there, which is helpful to speed up the finance process. That is the central finance. Anyway, so we have a deadline in the SAP ECC in the year 2027. So already just we have 2 months in 2024 and later 2 years. So there is no ECC in the market. So that time even so there is no central finance in the market as well. Why? Because if the client
Okay.
wants to use the SAP application, obviously the client wants to move into SAP S/4HANA only. There is no other
Okay.
option. The SAP already declared. So even they stopped the SAP ECC product also in the year 2020 itself. So it
Okay.
means from 2020 onwards, there is no ECC implementation projects in the market. We have only SAP S/4HANA implementations.
Okay.
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 But many of the trainers or many of the consultants still they are providing training in the ECC systems. I don't know whether they know these facts all. Even that is also one of the very, very important point. But as per my knowledge, so as per my working experience, so the SAP already stopped the ECC product in the year 2020 itself. It means there is no ECC implementations in the market, and I can see now major of the projects in SAP S/4HANA implementation projects only. We have only 5 to 10% projects in ECC support projects, but again, so we have only 2 years of deadline.
Jan
Okay.
1st, 2027, it is going off, is it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Next, the SAP S/4HANA Finance. So there is some innovations from the finance side, like in the accounting side and cash, SAP cash management side also. We have a bank account management, bank communication management, and even they introduced new cash management tool as well. And even multi-bank connectivity. So there is one more feature is also added. Even in FSCM also they are added many new things. Okay, so that and all they are innovated in this application and integrated with the business planning as well and business cockpits and central finance. These are all the SAP S/4HANA finance innovations, what we can see in the SAP S/4HANA point of view. Next, Fiori. What I said earlier, so the Fiori is the apps, so which is helpful to record the day-to-day business transactions instead of the SAP application. And the very easiest thing is this Fiori is not required the laptops or the desktops. We can install in mobile phone or we can install in the uh, pads, tablets itself, and we can use it. And again, the theory, how they are taking this Fiori. So the word Fiori means flowers in Italian. And when to
Oh,
open SAP Fiori homepage application, you will see the picture of the flowers. So earlier,
Okay.
did you observe or not? When we opened the Fiori apps, we have complete flowers. Okay, but nowadays I can't see that flowers also. But
okay.
earlier, so that application we can see the flowers as well. There is some theory they mentioned here. So that theory also I mentioned very clearly. So
Sure.
please go through this theory. So sometimes what happened while we attended the interview, suddenly the interviewer is asked, "Could you please explain
Mm.
about the Fiori?"
Okay.
So that time
Okay.
you need to tell at least some points, at least 3 to 5 points, what I mentioned
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Next. So again, so the Fiori, so if you anyone wants to learn the Fiori, so again the Fiori, so the functional consultants, we can use the front end Fiori apps, but if you want to create by our own Fiori apps, so again this comes into the technical part only. So that people required the SAP UI5 and HTML5, JavaScript, and above program and OData and SAP NetWeaver and SAP Fiori Launchpad accessing and ERP implementation and knowledge of HANA. These are all knowledges required to develop our own SAP Fiori apps. So we have a
Oh,
Fiori consultants also in the real time. So basically they are
Mhm.
from ABAP background and they are from UI5 background, that consultants. But we don't worry about this one. So they created and we can use it. That's it.
got it.
So just being a functional consultant, we need to know how to use the Fiori apps. That is more than enough. We don't bother
Okay.
about how to create the Fiori app and how
Okay.
to customize the Fiori apps. So that and all things taken care by the Fiori consultants.
Okay.
Okay. Next point. So again, the Fiori application types, we have three type of apps is there basically. So we have a transactional apps, what I said earlier. If you want to maintain some transactions into the systems, so we can use some transactional related apps. And there is some analytical apps also. Nowadays, the analytics plays the key role, especially any business point of view. So if the business wants to do some analytics based on some data, so here in Fiori we have some analytical apps also, and there is some
Okay.
fact sheet apps as well. So comparing to the again in SAP, majorly we have three types of data, or I can say as majorly four types of data, like master data, transactional data, configurational data, customization data. So within that, so we have some fact sheet related apps also. So likewise, we have basically three type of apps, but in the real time, we can use it mostly this apps only, transactional apps only, being a finance consultant.
Okay.
Next point. So the SAP GUI, graphical user interface, I hope you knows.
Yeah.
So SAP, how the GUI is looks like. When I click this logon pad, you can see this is the SAP GUI for Windows, and this is the logon pad.
Yeah.
Okay. And anyway, tomorrow I will provide server access to both of you.
Okay.
And
Okay.
even I will share one video also how to install this SAP logon pad into your system.
Okay.
And once you install, you need to maintain the server details as well.
Hmm.
So here in this option, so in after variable login, so there is new option. If you click this option, you need to maintain some details. So these details I will provide in our WhatsApp. So you can see these are all the details. If I open this one, if I go to properties, these details.
Okay.
Okay, same details you
Okay.
need to maintain. So otherwise I will take one screenshot and I will attach in our screen in our chart itself. I will share in WhatsApp as well, but
Okay.
Okay.
for our easy thing, I will attach this screen as well. Okay, and later once you click this one, once you add your server, so there is user ID and password. So these two things also I will share to you. And once you entered your user ID and password, I hope you know so how to SAP looks like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Giri, did you observe earlier SAP S4 on a screen as well, or ECC only?
No, no. S4 HANA I've seen sometime. Yes.
Okay, very good.
This one and all I've seen. Yes.
Okay, so S4 another group reporting and conversion and all.
Yeah.
And even so in our training, so I will go with the SAP S4 on a 2022 version.
Okay.
So same version, so we will provide access to you as well, both of you.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the latest version only. Even in my current project also, we used this version only. And even so, 2023 is also there in the market. But even in my current project also, we are not upgraded into the 2023. So I hope you know. So SAP we have lot of versions since 16092 2023. So we have 1609, 1709, 1809, 1909, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Every year they released one version. I
Oh.
hope this year only so they didn't release the version. Okay.
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 But in our training, so we are going with the latest version, I can say 2022. And I saw there is no much difference between 2022 and 2023 as well. Okay.
Okay.
So same server access also I will provide both of you. So from tomorrow onwards, so once I started the configuration part, so same thing you need to practice from our side as well.
Yeah, sure.
Next point. Next point. So in SAP GUI, so again we have a three ways to navigate the transactions. Like one is we have some user SAP menu, and another is the path or the transaction code, and another we can go with the favorites as well. So within these three ways, and very important if you want to maintain any configuration in the SAP. So basically we have three ways. One is the path. So we need to select one by one, go to SPRO and select some screen and select another screen like that. And we have T code as well, transaction code. So the transaction code is nothing but the shortcut key to enter into any function or enter into any particular screen in the SAP. And the third way. So any idea, Giri or Rakshana, what is the third way?
No idea.
If I want to maintain something into the SAP system. So path, I think you know path. We need to select one by
Yeah.
one. And T
Right.
code as well. So
T code.
instead of we are
Yeah.
giving one by one, so we are giving directly T code. So the
Yeah.
system
Yeah.
is moving directly into the particular screen. And the third way is the table level. So even we can maintain the data in the table level itself. So we need to go to SM30 transaction code, and within that, so we will maintain the data as well. So
Oh,
if you want to see, I will show you, no problem.
We are
okay.
not talking about T code, right? You're talking about table.
Table. I will show you. For example, see, for example, if I want to maintain my company, okay, so three ways. The first way is, so I need to go to this screen. I need to select enterprise structure. I need to select definition. And again, I need to select financial accounting and I need to double click on the define company. So here I need to click new entries and here I need to maintain my company. So this is the first way. So this is the path. So
Okay.
instead of I'm selecting, these are all like definition, enterprise structure, financial accounting and all. So the shortcut route. So directly, so I will enter the T code, the transaction code OX15. If I
Mm.
click
Hmm.
on enter directly, the system goes to the particular screen and here itself I will maintain my configuration. This is
Yeah.
the second way. And
Yeah.
apart from this, even so we have some table level also SM30. And here we need to give our table, we underscore some table. And if I click on edit, so then again the same screen is appeared. So again, I will maintain my values. So likewise in SAP, if we want to maintain anything, so we have three ways. So I will show you in upcoming classes. And
Sure.
Okay.
SAP screen, so basically we have two screens. And I hope you know this is the menu bar and
Yeah.
this is the standard toolbar and
Yeah.
this is the status bar.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the command prompt. So
Yes.
basically in SAP application, we have two screens. One is the SAP Easy Access, where the end users or power users or super users or the business,
Mm.
they used this one only. Here, if they want to post one general entry directly, they are going with accounting and financial accounting and general ledger and document entry. And if they want to maintain some GL account here, they will post the general entry here. Correct?
Mm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where it comes to the consultant, apart from this SAP Easy Access screen, so we have display AMG screen as well. So if you want to go to that screen as well, so there is two ways. 1 minute. So there is two ways. One, I need to go to SPRO, the
Yeah.
transaction code, and I need to select reference IMG. And this is the display IMG. Like this is the implementation guide. So
Mm.
whenever
Hmm.
we are working in the implementation project, so usually the consultants are working on this screen usually.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. So again, here we have all the modules in SAP. And if you want to go inside one by one, if you consider our financial accounting, we have global settings, general ledger accounting, accounts receivable, payable, bank accounting, revenue accounting, consolidation, real-time consolidation, asset accounting, and we have central finance, predictive accounting, and special purpose ledgers. We have many options. If
Mm.
you want to go inside again, so the options is continuously it produces the system. I hope you know these are all things. Okay. And
Yep.
otherwise, one more option instead of I'm going SPRO and I'm selecting reference IMG. So directly I'm going SIMG. So directly the screen is appeared here.
Okay.
Okay. Next point. So here I mentioned clearly what do you mean by easy access and display IMG. Okay. And
Yeah.
the transaction code also I mentioned here SPR. And
Okay.
again, the Fiori design, we have the Fiori interfaces. It is designed based on these five following principles like responsiveness, simple, coherent, and instant value and role based. And each and every the principle, the theory I mentioned here. Okay. And again, the SAP user roles also, the SAP Fiori, we have some roles. And even if you want to see your role also in the real-time system, but again, we don't have access in the real-time system in SU01T code. So if you want to see our things SU01, I hope here, yeah. So here my user ID is 251013. This is my user ID. If I click on enter, so where we can see,
It's already exist.
yeah, exist one only I will maintain here. Okay, so here I think I need to go this one. And here you can find out the roles as well. So in real time, based on these roles only, we have access. Okay, so if you don't have any access, the basis team is adding these roles. We have only display here, but the basis team have, even they have some edit access also for this screen. Okay, usually they provided the access based on these roles only. Okay, so
Okay.
that is the T code here I mentioned clearly. And the Fiori key benefits. So please go through this theory one by one. Easy access, increased productivity, update. Okay. And the next one, so the very important, so the SAP implementation. So basically, in the ECC implementation, so we call as ASAP methodology, that is accelerated SAP methodology. And when it comes to the SAP S4HANA implementation, we call as activate methodology. So the difference between these two methodologies is this one. In the implementation project, if you want to implement the SAP with the help of ASAP methodology, we have a phases like project preparation, business blueprint, realization, final preparation, and go live. But when it comes to the SAP Activate methodology, we have a phases like discover, prepare, explore, realize, deploy, and run. These are
What
all the
is
phases.
what is this basically? The like
The
when we call it.
roadmap. See, in the SAP, again, we have different types of projects in SAP. And out of that, the first project is the implementation project.
Right.
Implementation project is nothing but installation of SAP into the client business process.
Yeah.
So that implementation, we need to follow some method, some methodology.
Okay.
So in earlier ECC, we have ASAP methodology. And when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to the SAP S4HANA, we have activate methodology. So you
Mm.
can see it here. The activate methodology, this is the roadmap. Like we have a different phases. Phases is nothing but so whatever we are doing the entire things, we are splitting into small parts.
The protocol that we need to
Yeah,
follow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that small parts we call as phases.
Mm.
So in SAP methodology, basically we have five phases to implement the SAP. And where it comes to the activate in the SAP S4 HANA, we have six phases. Okay.
Okay.
Next, the SAP tables. I hope you know. So
And
whatever you maintain. Yeah.
sorry to stop you on the activate or
Mm.
ASAP. We'll
Mhm.
go through this all in detail, right? Like,
Uh, no, in this training, it's not covered. So
okay.
the thing is, this is not a easy task to understand these things and all. and
Okay.
that is a different training. So I will tell you in upcoming classes what is the training, and
Okay.
I'll also I will update both of you.
Sure. Basically, we
But
are
Okay.
we
what
are
is
here.
what I will tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And here we are only concentrating on getting the like typically a professional certification. For that we are preparing. Is that right? Like,
Yeah, but again, see, for example,
mm,
so if you want to know what we provide training in the real-time project training, so if I opened my content, so again you can see if you want to learn the real-time things. So
mm,
again we have 70 topics nearly. So because of that, what happened? So the SAP S4HANA Finance we provided separately, and this training we provide separately. And in this training, we will cover the entire thing: the discover phase, what we do; prepare phase, what we do; explore, and realize, deploy. Each and every details here we explain. And again here we explained nearly 6 types of projects.
okay.
Okay, so this is also me only provide the training. But anyway, I will tell you. But if you want to know what is what, I will take 1 or 2 sessions.
Okay. Fine.
So
Okay.
That,
not yeah, not in detail.
yeah.
So if you want to know, so I will take 1 or 2 sessions.
Sure.
Next one,
Sure.
SAP
Yep.
tables. So again, the very important point, whatever we maintain the configuration into the system, or whatever the settings we maintain into the systems, usually that configurations and that things is stored on the tables. The tables is nothing but in SAP, it's a database storage elements where the data is stored. Okay. So whatever
Right.
we maintained, everything is stored in the tables. So even we can see that tables information by using this SE16 and T code as well. So if you want to see in T880 table, it contains the complete company. So the company details here. Okay. So likewise, whatever we maintained any configuration in the system, so each and everything, so the system is stored in the tables. Okay. Next point.
Right.
So in the SAP S4HANA, so especially this concept is newly introduced by the SAP. Earlier, we don't have this concept, universal general. And this table we call as ACDOCA table. So in this ACDOCA table, we call as a single source of truth. We can see many of the modules data into one single table itself. Earlier in ECC, what happened if you want to see some financial accounting, general ledger accounting, or some financial accounting, some accounts payable, accounts receivable, and all, we can go to different tables.
Mm,
But when it comes to the SAP S4HANA, so we can find out that and all values in the single table itself. So this table provides huge fields. So if you want, I will show you also.
yeah.
If I go to SC16N, so if I want to go to ACDOCA, so if I execute this one, so now you can see the fields of this table. These are the fields of this table.
Mm,
So if I right click here, now you can see how many fields is there. You can observe here this tab. If I move to
Okay.
right click, you can see how many fields is there.
mm,
Earlier, we don't have this much of facility in ECC. So, but here in the SAP S4HANA, uh, it's more than 900 fields information. It is stored in this table itself.
right.
Mm.
Okay. So regarding that one also, I mentioned the theory as well. Please go through this theory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even so, we can expect this thing in our interview. Even in real time cases, also we can expect these things. And finally, the other tables and the simplification and compatibility views and all. So I will share this material in our chart itself.
Sure.
Okay.
So please go through this material and try to understand. It's very easy only. It's not a tough thing.
Yeah.
But
I have one
some
doubt in this table thing. So for
yeah.
journal entries, we are maintaining a table, which means like a variant, or For GL accounts, it is a different table, or how are you like what do you say,
See,
control?
Rachna, see everything
Mm,
in SAP, whatever we
mm,
maintain. So each and
mm,
every values it is stored in a table itself. Where it comes to
mm,
the general ledger, whatever you said. So when
mm,
we try to post the general entries into the system, so the
mm,
values is stored in two tables, not one table. So the
mm,
header values it is stored in BKPF and the footer
mm.
values it is stored in the BSEC table.
Okay,
Okay, so I will tell you in upcoming classes. So I will
okay.
tell you and I will show you also if I maintain some general entry. So where it is exactly stored inside the system. So that time, please remember me. I will show you where that
Okay,
values
table
are
is
stored.
basically it stores the data in some format. It
Exactly.
might be anything, journal entry or balance sheet reconciliation, anything.
Anything. See, for example,
Okay. Okay.
so this is the some there is a BSEC table. Okay.
Mm,
So the BSEC table it is stored the accounting document header details. If I execute this one,
okay.
so in future, once we posted some general entries, I will show you
Mm,
what is
mm,
this
mm,
document number. For example, if I double click on this document number, you can see whatever
mm.
the values we have. So these are all values.
Okay.
It is stored in this table.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So anything you
Mm,
want to maintain any configuration in the system, or if
mm,
you want to maintain any master data in the system, anything the SAP is stored somewhere, someplace.
mm, mm,
So that
mm.
place only we call as tables.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So any doubts apart from this?
I think apart from this, nothing. I'll go through the recording once again. If
Yeah,
anything, I'll.
I'll yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
I'll also do that. I'll go through the recording as well as I'll go
Not
through the
recording.
It's
no
Please
no
PDF
go
for.
through this
the
document.
document. That's what along with that I'm saying. Along with
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Please go through that document and try to read that document at least one or two times
Yep.
and try to understand that things. Each and everything I documented, you don't worry. But each and every point, I hope each and every line I don't need to explain in detail. So for both of you, I hope you know very well and you understand once you read this thing. And while you are going through the document, if you have any doubt or any query or any some doubt, so you can ask in tomorrow session as well. I will
Yeah.
explain
Sure.
Sure.
you. You don't worry. Okay.
Okay.
So then again, so today we will not start the configuration part. No problem. So tomorrow onwards, we will see the configuration part and we will start the finance part. Okay.
Okay.
So thank you for joining today's session. So we will meet tomorrow at 9 p.m. IST.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good
Sure.
night,
Sure.
Thank you
both
so
of
much.
you. Yeah.
Good
Good
night.
night. Yeah.
Yeah.